Hi, this is Karen, Grandmother Dances in the Night Skies. I'd like to talk to you about pet grief. What is pet grief? Have you ever had an animal that's sharing your life, whether it be from long ago or just recently, that has passed or crossed? A pet communication allows me, there's two ways that we can do it. There's a pet communication allows me to get into the essence of the animal, a living animal, and how I feel in my body what they're feeling, so I work through that process. Well, that can be done in another way too, after they've crossed. So after they crossed, what I offer is a rainbow bridge reading, where I go in and I tap into the energy of them where they are now, and to read that energy and allow you, the person grieving them, to actually have a communication with them, to see where they are, to answer any questions. And I do have a lot of people challenging me when I do that. How do I know it's really them? And I would say 9 times out of 10, the pet will give me some information that nobody knew. And I actually ask you for no information. I don't want to know when the pet died, how they died. All I want is the photo and their name. And that allows me to go in, because the more I know, the more I filter what I'm bringing in, because then I'm being a person and I'm going, oh, is that ego? Is that whatever? And this way I know it's just wide open. I recently did a pet communication of a dog that had crossed, and the dog had really, really fought hard to stay here in the human world. And then it had just gotten so sick it had to be help assisted to cross over. And the dog said, I tried to hang on because in the next 6 months, this big event is going to happen in the family. And I really wanted to be a part of that big event. And of course, I had no idea. I'm just relaying the information. And I found out that the people are expecting a baby. And this would be baby number two for them. And this dog was able to say, I know it's coming. And I wanted to be a part of that. And it allowed those people to really sit in the energy of, you know what, this is so beautiful that our dog wanted to be a part of this, and we can now celebrate that. So what happens when a pet crosses? Well, we walk out, we go, okay, our pet, maybe we're going to put them down, or let them cross over, however you want to phrase that. And then we have the personal struggles. I know we had a little Shih Tzu. Her name was Molly, and she's my husband's heart dog. And Molly would sleep with Charlie. He everywhere he went, she went, and literally it was his heart dog. And we knew that Molly was now struggling with heart problems, was in an awful lot of pain. And we would go through a good day and a bad day and a good day and a bad day. And when do we do it? When is it too late? When is it too early? And all those type of struggles. And then finally, we decided that it was now time. And within literally seconds after the needle went in her arm or her leg, she was gone. And it was a very peaceful passing. And we felt good about that. Now I'm going to give you the opposite. Another time, I just had recently, we put a dog down his name was Gizmo. And I just loved him. He was a little Shih Tzu, 14 years old, and he had started having seizures. And every seizure really dampened his ability to function. And he was in a lot of pain. He was in a lot of torment. He would go through panic modes. He would run and hit the wall, not know what he was doing. After the last seizure, we decided that we were going to say goodbye to him. Only that what made it more complicated is 2 weeks prior to that, we had gotten another puppy. And we'd gotten this puppy who was a big goofy dog, and even though she was a baby, she was big and goofy, double Gizmo size. He was 7. This puppy was already at about 15 pounds. And I felt so guilty, and I kept asking myself, am I doing this because it's easier to not have the senior dog who's going through all this health problems, and this puppy as well? And I really had to struggle with what was best for Gizmo, not what was best for me or anybody else. And I did come to the conclusion that I did the right thing, We were laying in bed with Gizmo that night. He had a seizure. He didn't know where he was, and he released his bowels, and he was really having problems. And I let him go. And the vet assured me that I had done the right thing, that he would have continued to suffer. Okay, that's all fine and well, but then you come home and you've got the grief. What do you do with it? Well, you can't call in sick and say, I'm grieving my dog. If you're employed by somebody, luckily I'm employed by myself and I was able to take a good week off and not do anything. But if you're at work, you can't necessarily do that. And there's all the strain of, especially you've got young kids, I've got to go do this, we've got to do that. Life gets on real, real quick when all you want it to do is just stop for a moment so you can acknowledge your dog. When we sit in that type of information, that type of energy, it's really, really important to take some time to grieve, to acknowledge that pet's witnessing of your life. I have people who come here a lot and they're struggling with the loss of a pet because they don't, geez, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go with this. And they'll tell me, this dog was with me, or a cat, or it could be a hamster, it doesn't matter, was with me through a divorce, through a sickness, through children, through all that. They're literally the silent witness that sits and is a part of our lives, always supporting us silently in the background and being our support system, and then they're gone. So if we can allow ourselves to grieve for a pet just like we do for a person, how wonderful would that be? Here in our teepee, we have a panel. There's in the liner, there's all these liner is sections in the liner, and each section has a theme I've painted on it. And one of the sections that I've given it is called the Rainbow Bridge. And there's a big white doorway or a light doorway, and I put flowers around it and stones. And each pet that I have lost, and friends that have lost pets, we write color a stone in and put their name on it. So it's honoring that pet. We started to do a pet honoring ceremony now where people can come and get their stone and have their put their own pet's name on the stone so that it pulls that energy. I'm acknowledging you, I'm giving you love, and then it sits in the beautiful energy of the teepee. What happens if you're not here? Well, I'm far away, I'm in the United States and United Kingdom, or wherever you are. You can still do that on your own. You can literally paint a stone and then say, you know what, this, I'm putting my dog's name on it. You can have, I know the vets often provide you with the little paw print. I've got paw prints of a lot of mine, but I found it more powerful when I could do it myself, when I could have something that I made in that pet's honor. And there is a beautiful ceremony. I'm just going to chat about it for a moment. If you get a little tiny jar, and or any size jar really, I use small jars, and a little tiny picture of my pet, and you place that picture so the pet is looking outward. And inside the jar, I put water in it, and then I put herbs in it and salt in it and everything, anything that I'm called to put in, essential oils, you can put in that. Usually take something that was theirs. So in my case, because I had little dogs, I would take one of their collars and I would put it in there. You can take absolutely anything and put it within that jar that reminds you of your pet. Then you seal the jar up, and every day, for as long as you need, it can be a week, it can be 10 days, it can be a month, whatever you need. I did mine for 7 days. And every day for 7 days, I would spend time with that photo, and I would light a candle, I would smudge, and I would talk to them as if they were here. I would share all the inner feelings that I'm getting. So I wasn't storing them inside me. I was allowing them to flow and to come out. I was acknowledging my grief. Sometimes I just sat and cried. Sometimes I got really angry because darn it, you shouldn't have been gone so young. And so when we can do that, it gives us a relief. Make sure you blow your candle out, and make sure that when you put your jar up, you put it in a place where no one's going to knock it over or disturb it. But it really, really helps. At the end of the ceremony, at length of time that you're wanting, then you feel, okay, I feel complete now. Then dump out the water. Let the photo dry up and take everything that you've been putting in that water, Then you can make a little shadow box, and that shadow box is like a frame, but it's got a little bit of depth to it, and you can put all types of items in it. Some have glass over them, some don't. You can Google shadow boxes and you'll see all different types. Find something that works for you so you can make a little tribute to your dog, your cat, your rabbit, it doesn't matter, and put it up on the wall or put it on a shelf for you so that you can celebrate them. They will always be with you. I have lost several animals, like I mean several. Years ago, when I very first started my healing process, I had so many walls up around me, and I was bound determined I wasn't going to allow anything to break those walls. I was going to protect myself. I was just going to learn about stuff, but I wasn't going to actually get into the flow of healing. That was just too much for me. And 2 weeks prior to my very first class, I lost my dog Joey. And I was very raw. And I broke down in class and I cried. Not only was I crying for myself and the things that were happening, but Joey was in the background of my mind constantly. I never told anybody I was mourning a dog because people don't do that sort of thing, right? So I just silently sat in that. Well, a month goes by and we're getting ready for our next class. And a week prior, I lost another animal. This time I lost a rabbit. And I know a rabbit, people go, it's just a rabbit. He was really important to me. His name was Stu, and he had long, floppy ears, and he was gray and white. And I just loved his energy and our time together. I buried him underneath the apple tree, and I cried and I cried. And same thing, I went to class. Now I've got two pets that have died in 2 months, and I'm in the process of healing. So I'm raw again. I got known in the class as the crier because I literally was crying all the time. Only again, I wouldn't tell anybody why I was crying. The following month, yeah, you guessed it, I lost another pet. I lost a cat. Her name was Gaia. Now, I'd only had Gaia for a few months. She was a kitten. And all of a sudden, we found her belly just bloated. And I rushed her to the vet, and I found out that she had cancer. And the vet recommended we put her down. I was devastated, like absolutely devastated. This is three pets in 3 months. How can this be happening? I went to class where everybody was sharing again and again. I'm crying. And I explained, I lost just recently lost a kitten, and this is what happened. And then I explained to the class that I had lost a pet before that, and a pet before the following month, that I literally had now lost three pets in 3 months. And then I had somebody make the callous statement of, well, maybe you should pick better pets, or what are you doing wrong that's making all your pets die at this point? And it gutted me. I mean, it gutted me. And no one seemed to give the care or the compassion of what I was going through. And I felt very, very alone, that it wasn't okay to share. And about 5 months later, we were right near the end of the class, and damned if I didn't lose another pet. This was another senior dog. He wasn't mine, he was a friend of mine who could no longer care for him. They had gone into a nursing home, and they gave me Benji, who was their dog, who was also very, very senior. Benji was blind, and he had a seizure, and he died on my couch. And so he died. I never told a soul, never told a soul. And then I wept for Benji as well. Even though I didn't have him in my home for a long time, he represented my friend who had then crossed right after Benji. And it was just like death, death, death. So whether it be a human's death or whether it be an animal's death, the fact that you loved, that you cared, gives you every right to grieve, no matter how you grieve. But even if your grief is a celebration of life, so I've had that happen too. We had another another dog who passed away, who it was really time for him to go, and I celebrated. It was like, oh my gosh, Magnum, I just enjoyed you so much, and thank you for spending time with me and allowing me to be with you as you crossed. And I just celebrated. Everything was a wonderful moment in time. Every time I looked at a ball, I would laugh. Every time I'd look at a baseball diamond, I would laugh. All the little things that I did with that beautiful dog, I was in joy of. So joy doesn't mean you didn't grieve. Joy just means that how you sat in it. And energy and growth all happens all as it's supposed to be. So acknowledge your animals if that's what you're called to do. And don't feel guilty if you're not. And if you are looking for a pet communication in any way, whether it be just a live pet and you would like a pet communication, maybe your animal's sick and you would like some advice. Well, I'm not a vet in any way, shape, or form. I actually don't even know the anatomy of most animals. I tap in energetically. And I can tell you in my body what they are experienced from my point of view. Then you can take that information as you will and then take it to a vet and say, hey, this is something I'd like you to check out. You don't have to tell them some wacky lady told you this because she was doing a pet communication. Some of them would kind of swing their eyes, but I do have two vets that do call me about actually about pain management. And so it's kind of funny because I'm pretty good at experiencing that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, so I have had dogs come to me or cats. Actually, the wackiest animals that I've done a snake, I've done a tarantula. I'm not very good with birds. Birds, for some reason, my wavelength and birds' wavelengths don't always match. But I have a lady that I just met who can read birds beautifully, and I passed them on to her. So we just that's how we all connect together, right? It's not about a competition. I can do it and no one else can. There's a lot of people that can do this in so many different levels. So it's reaching out to your support system and finding someone that you can trust, where you can express your grief, where you can journal to it, where you can cry to it. Have you ever had a funeral for a pet? Yeah, I have. Absolutely. And this, we're the pet ceremony that we're having. We have 7 people right now that are coming at the end of the month, and they're coming to celebrate and do just that. It's like a funeral for our pets. And they're going to get their stone, and they're going to get to take home a stone that matches the stone on the panel in the teepee, and that will be their memorable time with them where they can say, hey, I celebrated, I cried, I shared with others about my grief. It's like grief counseling on pet mode, and just celebrate that. So anyway, I hope that's helped you, and give yourself permission to grieve, and watch your kids. You never know what kids are feeling. So if an animal has died in the family, allow them to express how they are feeling. And I would even encourage you, if you are having them put to sleep at the vets, to bring your children with you, and also bring the other pets with you that you have in your home, because they too are a support system, and they too grieve. Yes, dogs, cats, they absolutely grieve. So do birds that I'm aware of. I've seen a bird go into deep depression when their owner was gone. So animals grieve as well. And it's important that we acknowledge that and give them time for them to see that deceased body, and to say goodbye in their way is important. And for children to realize that death isn't necessarily bad. Death is a part of life. And then to explain to them that they go into this beautiful sacred place, however you know it, the sacred place, that they aren't just gone, that they can be with them in dream time. They can be with them in their thoughts and in their memories. I hope that helps you. This is Karen, grandmother dances in the night skies. Fill your heart and fill your lungs with all kinds of good air, and grieve for your pets if you need to. Aho.